Hello, lovely, and welcome to the Essence of Expression podcast. Get ready to explore insights, lessons, practices, and wisdom from life for life. I'm your host, Arejay, healer, teacher, student, and sage. I'm excited and honored to have you with me on this journey. Let's dive in. So tonight's episode is a little different than I anticipated. This morning I had the pleasure of being a panelist on a mental health awareness conversation. And I think it was a really nourishing conversation for everybody. One of the things that really came up was being able to find our way, right? Like find what works for you. And then I went on about my day and kind of went to Facebook. And so I'm in, some of these holistic and herbalism groups and seeing questions from people and responses that just kind of throw an herb at an issue without any other questions or investigation to see what might really be going on. And then I was in some business groups and I was talking about efficiency. And so all these things were swirling as I was trying to figure out what to talk about tonight for the podcast. And so I think one of the things that would be helpful is to discuss how we can go about finding our way on new paths, right? And so when we start these journeys, whether it be hey, we're now starting self-care, we're now starting a holistic wellness journey, we're now starting a business, any of those things, I think it's going to be important to check in with ourselves. It's really easy to start getting advice from a lot of different places, a lot of different sources, and when you're first starting out, you don't necessarily know the difference, you don't know better, you don't have the knowledge and the experience yet to be able to discern in that way, right? From a logical mental perspective, you don't have the ability to discern it in that way necessarily. That doesn't mean though that you cannot still discern what is and isn't right for you and help yourself navigate along this pathway. You absolutely can. And that's where it's going to come into trusting ourselves, connecting with Creator, asking for that guidance, right? So one critical thing when we are, starting this journey on a new path, how we find our own way, is to understand where it is that we want to go, right? What's the destination? What's the reason behind us starting this journey in the first place? Because when you understand that, you're going to have a better sense of oh, okay, I need to go this way, or I don't need to go that way, or I need to find this type of person to help me figure this out. So definitely know or have a good understanding of what the destination is. And if you don't have that yet, spend some time to think about it, right? Then when you do know the destination, the clearer we can get about it, what does the balance look like that you're hoping to achieve, right? I'm assuming you're starting this for some reason. You want to bring it into your life. What do you want your life to look like, potentially, once you get this thing, right? I was talking earlier about efficiency, and I mentioned, your time pie, your ideal time pie. And what I meant by that is if you consider how you're spending your time and you map how you're spending your time onto a pie chart, ideally, what do you want that to look like? What percentage of your time that you're using do you want to be, in spending time with people you're in relationships with? What percentage of it do you want to be your business? What percentage of it, what does that look like for you? Because it's different for everybody. And when we don't take the time to consider what ours would look like, what we desire ours to look like, we will then tend to default to what is shared with us as to what something is supposed to look like. And when we do that, we run the risk of now aligning to something that's not in alignment with who we are, that's not in alignment with our desires, that's not in alignment with our purpose, right? And then we can kind of go astray and get a little lost, or we end up like in burnout, so many things. So really, what's the destination? When you do arrive, ideally, what does that look like for you? Also thinking if there are any people that are already in your sphere that you trust that would know about this stuff or be able to maybe better direct you, right? Like if someone's already taken the road there, if they've already gone to this destination, what milestones, what routes are they suggesting? Things like that, to get a better idea of how you might want to take this journey. Also, I think being able to expose ourselves to different perspectives and the different possible routes, because sometimes we don't, we never really know it's possible until we see it or we hear it, but until it's in front of us in some kind of way, right? So sometimes that's us, like we achieved something, right? Like we've kind of stumbled into something, and sometimes maybe it was given to you in a vision, so you already saw it and just haven't seen it in the physical, and you can move toward that. But sometimes it's literally like, oh, this person did this, or like that's a thing, that's a possibility. Who knew? So giving yourself time to check out some of the possibilities and to look at some of the ways these things are showing up, or these things are being put into action, or people are working with them, whatever the appropriate term would be for what the path is that you're starting out on, right? And then see which one like excites you the most. Which one are you like, oh my gosh, tell me more about that. Oh my gosh, can you show me? And then allow yourself to explore. And allow yourself to be incorrect. And let that be okay, because you can fix it. You can fix it. You get to change your mind. You get to realize, whoop, I made a bad call here. This is not what I want. This is not working for me. And I need to readjust. I need to reroute. So I think really having that understanding of the destination, knowing the possible routes, knowing what you want to look like when you successfully arrive, like what is that for you? What does that feel like? And giving yourself grace and the space to experiment and fail and realize, oh, okay. And then sit with it for a minute and see what the feedback is that you can get from that. What is the lesson that you can pull from that failure? Right? And make the decision like, hey, we're going to keep going forward. Or, oh, like the mistake isn't in the way I'm trying to get here. It's the destination itself, right? And both could be true. So it's really going to take you to sit with it and discern with and be discerning. So those are my tips for if you are starting out on a new path and you're trying to find your way with it. Thank you for your time and attention. If you enjoyed this episode, follow the show. If someone came to mind while you were listening to this episode, please take a moment to share it with them. If you're interested in joining a community and diving further into these topics, please visit theessenceofexpression.com/community and request to join our community group. Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night or day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.